Hello, everybody. It's Christine here, and I hope that you're having a great day. I am the CEO and founder of Create Your Best Life Coaching, and that is at work and at home. And I help professional women who feel stuck take control of their lives, prioritize what's most important, and make decisive decisions to move your life forward in a positive direction, both at work and at home, in as fast as 30 days without wasting time. I mean, how is that for a promise? So I wanted to talk to you today about change. This is something I think is so interesting, and for anybody who's joining, I would love to hear where you're coming from. So if you can make some comments in the chat, let me know where you are located. And I'm looking at my screen here, and there is some things. Whoops. There we go. And so yeah, I would love to hear where you're from and what are some things that you have tried to change that just you end up going back to the same thing. We're going to talk about the psychology of this, the change curve, because I think that it's so important. When you understand why you do what you do, then we can get more comfortable with that. And so ultimately, this is about leading yourself. It comes back to you and it comes back to me, right? We have to lead ourselves first. And when I say the word lead, we have to, in order for us to lead others or influence others, we have to be able to lead ourselves. And it all starts with you and it all starts with me. And so I want to walk you through some thoughts here and some ideas. And I find these things so interesting. So there's this quote, and it says, "What we think about most represents and defines our whole life. So be careful what you think. Your life is shaped by your thoughts." I mean, everything in life, how we perceive life, if we perceive it to be great, mediocre, or crappy, it all comes from what we're thinking about, right? Pay attention. Have you ever noticed what that internal dialogue is? So our thoughts are just that internal voice, that conversation that's going on inside of our head. And we can have really productive internal conversation or not. And I love the quote that says, we need to talk to ourselves and not listen to ourselves. I don't know about you, but there's been times when my mind has gone on this crazy rant. Has anybody else experienced that? And next thing you know, it's almost like you snap out of it and you think, wow, where did those thoughts come from? And it's really about belief drives behavior. So what do you believe? We have 86,400 seconds in 24 hours. That's 70,000 thoughts per day. And that comes out to 1.2 thoughts per second. And again, there's a lot of crazy stuff that can go on in here, and we can control that, right? You have control over your mind and your thoughts. And it comes back to our belief system. So belief drives behavior. Well, what do you believe? What you believe comes from what you feed your mind. And what we feed our minds is what drives our thoughts, which drives our feelings, which drives our actions, ultimately drives our results, right? I mean, have you ever had you felt sad? Well, you were thinking something sad. When you've been happy, those feelings are like the thoughts that come from whatever we're thinking about is what drives those feelings, right? So I love this quote here, or this slide. It says, so many of us are in a trance. If you don't program your mind, someone else will. And this ties into change. And really, when we step back, it's about deciding to thrive. Because in our culture, in our world, we are being programmed every day. So programming comes from intention, or it comes from authoritative figure, intensity, and repetition. Authoritative figure, intensity, repetition. That's what drives the programming in our subconscious mind. And our subconscious mind is driving our lives. 90% of what we do is driven by our subconscious mind. And so everything is what it is, right? In the world, in our culture. Hi, good morning. In our culture, everything is what it is. And it's about intentionality of what we allow into our minds. Because in that previous slide, we can wake up and we can be in a trance. This comes back to that personal responsibility of you and me taking charge of our lives, being victors, not victims. And so tell me, before we get started, what is something that you have wanted to change and you just keep getting stuck? Maybe it's getting into a routine for exercise. Maybe it's getting better spending habits. Maybe it's in our spiritual life, having more gratitude and God time in the morning, or quiet time, trying to create some new habits. What are some things that you're experiencing that you just kind of keep getting stuck, and you're trying to make this change, and for whatever reason, it's just not happening? Take some comment, put some notes in the comments, and hopefully I'll see them. I'm using this new tool, and it's a little bit different. So let me know, and let me know where you're located. I'd love to hear that. I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia, actually Cumming, Georgia, and we're a suburb outside of Atlanta. I see someone wrote here, being on time for things. So on this tool, I don't have your name, and you're in Washington. Oh, hi. I bet this is Nicole. If it's not Nicole, hello to whoever it is. So being on time for things. Yeah. So that's like creating habits. And we're going to talk about the change curve here in a second. So when we think about creating new habits, and we think about intentionality in our lives, what is it that's stopping us? What is it that's keeping us from slowing down to speed up, to being intentional? So many times we're in this rat race of life, right? We're all on this wheel, just going, and it's hard to slow down. But ultimately, that's the key, is slowing down to speed up. So stepping back, and this is what we call the life wheel. And in my program, Create Your Best Life coaching program, and it's designed again for professional women who feel stuck. And it's a program, a holistic approach to your life. So leadership, executive coaching, life coaching. The first step is evaluating where you are currently in the different areas. So in order to make change, it's kind of looking at the different components and the different segments of our lives and determining what is going well and where do we want to improve. And when you think about action and change, those are like the two opposites. Nobody likes change, right? I mean, we think we do, but then it's like we have to change, we have to take action, and we have to do things differently. And when we've got certain habits, it can be really hard to change those habits. And so one of the things that I find so interesting is, like, when you think about yourself and you think about whatever it is, you want to be on time for things, you want to get healthier, you want to improve your relationships, you want to have better spending habits. When you think about those things, notice how you feel. What are you doing to set yourself up for success? This change curve is something that I've used in the corporate world, and it also applies in our personal lives. So if you look at the first section, the plateau that's where there's optimism or skepticism and denial. So for example, if it's something where, let's say you want to get in better shape, or you want to lose weight and you want to start going to the gym, you're optimistic about that. So you're starting off, and let's just say that you go to the grocery store and you clean out your cabinets. You go to the grocery store, you buy all whole foods, you set up a time to go to the gym. You go to the gym for 3 hours, you're just pumped, you're on fire. And then what happens in the plunge, that's where we start having some doubt. So that's where maybe your friends are going out for happy hour, and you're like, oh man, I don't know, this whole health thing, I don't know, maybe it's overrated. You wake up and you're really sore, and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know, going to the gym isn't that fun. It's like you start on this decline and you go into this next phase, which is called the trough. And the trough, that's where you start really questioning whatever that is that you're wanting to change. And, so for time, if you want to be on time and then you're not budgeting enough time up front, you start making excuses. You might say, oh, whatever, people don't mind. That's just how I am. But, as far as like the health example, this is where you start just saying, you know what, who cares about being healthy? You kind of lose sight of why you started. And that's really important to realize why you wanted to get healthy in the first place. Maybe you want to have more energy for your children or your grandchildren or yourself and your family and your husband. It's like going back to that stage. Now, the trough, this is when it's so important to be feeding your mind good stuff, right? That's when you want to be, immersing yourself in whatever it is that you want to improve. So maybe you listen to some podcasts on health and fitness. You start hanging around with your friends that want to exercise rather than go out to eat. You make sure that you're with people that are encouraging you. Maybe you're watching some YouTube stuff about health and fitness, and you really just immerse yourself to push through this trough phase. And so then if you can stick that through, you start in what they call the initial climb, and that's where you start to see some results. And once you do that, you'll start having tying back to your why, and you'll start feeling like this is becoming a habit. You've got the final climb, and then the we made it phase. And the final climb is where you start really getting confidence and promising yourself whatever promises you made yourself. You keep those promises to yourself, and that builds confidence for you. And then by the time you're in that next stage, the we made it stage, now this has become a habit. So you know that it's saying it's 21 days to make or break a habit. Once you start doing this, it just becomes who you are, and you don't even really need to think about it. And so when in the corporate world, so anyone who's watching who's a corporate person, this is something that we used when new systems come in. Like, have you ever been, working in your company and they get a new system and everybody, they're excited. Maybe they're excited. Some are skeptical. And then it just takes time, right? The new system is not, you're not doing things the same way. It's a new process. So it's uncomfortable. And, maybe it's not getting the results right away because there's bugs that have to be worked out of it. And people will go in the trough, and it's like you have to stick with it. This is the psychology to help people understand what's happening. So for you, I want you to think about what areas that you want to improve. And then it's about setting up systems for success and knowing that you're going to go through this trough, this change curve process. To me, when I understand that, it just makes it easier to push through. And another example is if you're a runner, like I'm a runner. I swear I've run the New York Marathon a couple of times, but every time I go running, the first mile is hell. Like, I literally want to stop, but I know that I'm getting in the trough. And if I just stay focused on how I can do it and mentally talking to myself that way, then it's like once I push through that one little part, I can keep going. And I know you can too. And so these are the action items. I want you to pay attention to your thoughts. So think about whatever it is that you want to improve on or you want to change. And first, pay attention to your thoughts about that topic and figure out what your why is. Then I want you to be intentional about what you feed your mind as it relates to that particular thing. So again, if it's health, if it's relationships, if it's your finances, if it's your spiritual life, if it's your home and whatever you want to improve, immerse yourself in that type of information to help you get through the change curve in that trough area. And then, again, part of that is surrounding yourself with positive people, with people that are encouraging, that lift you up, that help you to stay on course to move forward in whatever that is, to be your best self. And now I want to read this to you. And this is from Marianne Williams. And I just want you to listen and really take this in and realize that you are a victor. Whatever it is that you want to accomplish, you are capable of it. And so this is such a encouraging, it's a very long quote, but I want you to hear this. So our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone, it's in you. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So when you are your best self, what you're doing is you are giving other people permission to be their best selves. So I want you to reach out to me. I am actually starting a program. It's a 12-week Create Your Best Life coaching program that will help you catapult if you are feeling stuck, if you're feeling overwhelmed. Reach out and touch base with me. We can help you prioritize what's most important, make confident decisions to move your career and your life in a forward direction in as fast as 30 days without wasting time, right? So you've got this. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you soon. All right, take care.